cientista político Arthur Braga comenta e debate sobre os acontecimentos políticos dos Estados Unidos, Brasil e do mundo. Todas as sextas-feiras aqui, no Brazilian Times.
Boa tarde para toda a comunidade brasileira, se ligando aqui no Politicast hoje, né? Eu sou o Arthur Braga e você está aqui acompanhando via página do Brazilian Times, no Facebook, no Instagram, no YouTube, né? Justamente a nossa live aqui que a gente faz e trazendo sempre assuntos políticos, trazendo sempre o que há de novidade, tanto no Brasil, nos Estados Unidos, no mundo, né? A gente traz essas novidades e trazemos também opinião, né? Então você que está chegando agora, acompanha aqui junto com a gente, faz um compartilhamento, faz o share ali para os grupos, para poder dar essa força para a gente. E eu tô com uma pessoa muito especial hoje é dia de entrevista, tá, pessoal? Então você que é da região de Massachusetts, você que é da região de Everett, tá? Fica ligado aqui nessa entrevista, porque nós estamos entrevistando hoje Fred Capone.
Olá.
Welcome, Fred. Obrigado por ter vindo. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Eu vou fazer essa tradução, tá, gente, simultânea para vocês. E o Fred, ele é, o Mr. Capone, ele é um candidato para prefeito da cidade de Everett, né? Então, Mr. Capone, I'm just introducing you, telling that you are the candidate for Everett, right? And I just want to start with my first question, okay? Sure. Então vamos começar com a primeira pergunta. A primeira relação é o seguinte, se o candidato, se ele conhece, né, a nossa comunidade brasileira, se ele sabe a importância que os brasileiros têm na cidade de Everett, né? Então my first question is, you grew up in Everett, right? So, do you know the Brazilian community? Have you seen how they work in Everett and what's the impact they have in the city of Everett?
Absolutely. The first thing I can say is that it's a huge part of our neighborhoods, and the Brazilian community are wonderful, warm, welcoming people, and they work very hard. And we have a lot of businesses in our city.
Então ele disse que a primeira parte de dizer que é uma parte muito grande da comunidade brasileira na cidade de Everett, né? Que é uma comunidade que é muito carinhosa, é uma cidade incrível, uma comunidade incrível e também trabalhadora, né? Então tem esse conhecimento a respeito da cidade. Agora, quando vem o plano de ser esse candidato, de ser essa pessoa para a cidade de Everett, né? De onde é que veio essa necessidade para sair nessa candidatura? Como é que veio a ideia de sair candidato? Just my next question is, when it comes to run for election, how did this idea come from?
So I actually got involved with public service through my grandmother. So when I was very young, I saw her active in a lot of clubs and organizations in the city, and it inspired me. I ran for office back in 1989 was the first time. I was in my early 20s, and it was for the Common Council. At that time, we had 2 branches, and I was successful in it, and I ran 5 terms. And I did not run for a 6th term because my son was born, and I felt that at that time I wanted to be a dad, and I wanted to be as good a dad as I could. And that's one of the other things about the Brazilian community. Family is very important. And I know that that's central, and it is to me as well. And so I stepped away from politics, and then 14 years later, I ran again. My kids were older, and I ran again, and I've been in office for the past 8 years.
Perfect. Então ele comentou o seguinte, gente, que ele primeiro se envolveu com serviços públicos por conta da avó, né? A avó era muito ativa na cidade aqui de Everett, e a primeira vez que ele concorreu para um cargo público foi em 1989, né? Quando tinha 20 e poucos anos, ganhou 5 vezes para esse cargo, mas aí o filho nasceu, e quando o filho nasceu, quis dar mais tempo para a família. E isso é uma outra coisa que referencia muito a nossa comunidade brasileira, que é a família em si, né? Fala muito sobre a gente, o quão importante é. E depois que os filhos cresceram, passaram todos esses anos, né? Acabou voltando agora a conseguir concorrer mais uma vez e trazer de volta esse plano. Vamos perguntar a respeito da carteira de motorista, porque a carteira de motorista é um ponto muito importante para nós, e vamos saber a opinião do Fred Capone, se tem alguma relação com a nossa carteira. A gente se entende como prefeito, ele é limitado, mas tem opinião a respeito disso. Vamos saber qual que é. Fred, my next question is about driver license for immigrants. So we live in a state that's very liberal in a state that should have immigrants driving legally with their driver license. Unfortunately, the state houses still haven't come with something that has passed, and so we have a lot of people driving without any kind of permission, but they still drive because it's basically a basic need that everyone has to do it. We know as a mayor you don't have the power to go there and give driver license to people, but you still have a voice and a strong voice. If you become mayor of Everett, what would be your action? Could you talk to, what's your position? Do you think that the immigrants, they should have driver license? Do you think that's something that would change the way that Everett police and the whole situation is it's live right now, right?
Right. It's, as you mentioned, driving is transportation is a basic need, and you can't go to work. You can't provide for yourself and your family unless you can get from point A to point B. And public transportation doesn't always satisfy that need. So there are going to be those gaps, and people are going to find a way anyway. So if we are in a program where we instruct everyone how to drive, they learn the rules of the road, and get them a driver's license so they can do it legally and safely, I think that's the best thing we should be doing. Because one way or another, people are going to drive.
They're going to drive, right? That's the whole point. Ele diz o seguinte, gente, transporte é algo básico, né? Algo que nós todos precisamos para poder ir e vir, para poder trabalhar também, né? É algo para poder prover para nossas famílias. Então, encontrar uma maneira de poder fazer isso com que seja uma maneira legal e um programa que as pessoas aprendam a dirigir nas regras da cidade, nas regras da maneira correta, é algo que ele vai dar suporte caso venha se tornar prefeito da cidade de Everett. Vamos fazer um pedido para ele aqui. A gente tem a Broadway de Everett quase que um pedacinho do Brasil, né? A gente já tem isso bem comum na nossa mente, né? Seria esse pedacinho do Brasil. Será que se a gente pedir para ele, caso ele venha a se tornar prefeito da cidade, a gente não consegue trocar aquele nome daquela rua, hein? Para apelidar ela pelo menos para Little Brasil? Vamos ver o que a gente consegue fazer. So I was talking to people, and that's my next question is about Broadway. Of course, it has a comic side on that, but who knows, right? So I'm about to ask you something.
Sure.
Broadway is well known for having a Hispanic community that's huge, a Brazilian community that's also pretty big, and we have a Little Brazil street in New York. It's called Little Brazil over there. We're gonna ask you that after you win the election, all right? Can we ask you to change that name to Little Brazil instead of Broadway? Part of it.
You know what we'll do? We'll open it up to public opinion and we'll let everyone speak on it.
Great. Love the answer. Love the answer. A gente pode colocar para abertura na opinião pública e ver o que as pessoas falam. Adorei. Para mim já é o ponto que eu queria já. Pelo menos já um pouquinho ali, quem sabe. Faz uma campanha forte para ter um pequeno Brasil no meio da cidade de Everett. A próxima pergunta é a respeito do conselho da cidade, os vereadores, né? A gente tem um cargo chamado vereador escolar, eu já expliquei inclusive a respeito disso aqui nos Estados Unidos, ele é um cargo separado, ele é basicamente um secretário de educação, e o qual um brasileiro ocupa esse cargo, né? A gente tem um brasileiro fazendo justamente esse cargo. A grande questão aqui é se ele enxerga mais brasileiros vindo e tomando conta dessas situações, mais imigrantes, além da comunidade italiana e irlandesa, que já está aqui há muito tempo, vamos descobrir, né? So my next question is about the city council, and also we have a school committee that's Brazilian. He's Brazilian, actually.
Yes,
Marconi. Yeah,
wonderful guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He gave me interviews before, and abraço pra você, Marconi. The point is, so we have this Brazilian guy, and do you see more Brazilians like popping up in politics, not just in Everett, but around the Massachusetts states as something that can become more normal through the time? Because right now we see a lot of Italians and a lot of Irish people because they are older here. They are here for longer, of course. But do you see that coming up, more Hispanic people coming out to politics?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it should be the way. We're in Everett, we're extremely diverse, and we have a lot of different communities. We have a Haitian community, we have the Brazilian community, we have the Spanish community, the Latinas. There are so many. And, your elected officials should reflect your residents. So not only do I think that it is probably going to happen, I think it should. I think it's a beneficial thing. I think that everybody should have a voice in their city government. The city belongs to all of us. And I think the only way to properly be represented is to have someone who can really speak for you. And I'm not Brazilian or Spanish, but if I am elected mayor, I will have an open door and an open ear policy. And I want to hear from every single one of our residents about what issues are important to them, because like I said, it belongs to all of us.
Então a resposta dele é a seguinte, gente. Sim, eu acho que deveria ser mais brasileiros, e tem que acontecer de ter mais brasileiros. Em Everett é uma cidade muito diversa, né? Tem muitos haitianos, nós temos latinos, temos brasileiros, e seus políticos deveriam sim refletir a sua comunidade, né? A cidade pertence ao cidadão, né? Inclusive esse é o nome, a quem reside, né? Ao residente ali. Ele não é brasileiro, né? Ele diz: eu não sou brasileiro, nem hispânico, mas se eu for eleito prefeito de Everett, eu vou dar espaço sim para essas pessoas darem sua opinião e colocarem para frente o que elas desejam nesse ponto, né? Vou perguntar alguma coisa. Tem uma frase que eu gosto muito do prefeito Brian Arrigo. Quando eu entrevistei ele, ele falou o seguinte: ele disse que o trabalho do prefeito é tirar lixo e trampar asfalto. Isso foi o que ele falou na época. Eu achei muito interessante, né? Porque para não entrar naquelas questões governamentais, nacionais e etc., ele colocou essa frase. E ele tem levado o trabalho dele de uma maneira excepcional até então, e justamente com esse ponto, né? Vamos ver qual que é a opinião do prefeito. Será que as cidades elas têm que se envolver em questões nacionais? Por exemplo, colocar uma bandeira gigante de Black Lives Matter, ou colocar uma bandeira de movimentos sociais e etc. nas prefeituras? Vamos ver qual que é a opinião. All right, the next one is a hot one.
Okay, we're here.
So I was talking about Brian Arrigo, the mayor of Revere, which is a good friend, a great mayor. And when the first time I interviewed him, he mentioned something that was very interesting, because I was asking him, before he becomes mayor, I was asking him, hey, Brian, let me know about your position. Are you a Democrat and Republican when it comes to ideas? Are you more tendency for, conservative thoughts or for liberal thoughts? And he was like, I think as a mayor, I don't have a say to that. As a mayor, my job is to clean the streets and fix the asphalt. That's my job is. I don't have to deal with those things. If I want to deal with that, I'm gonna run for the house as a representative. And I thought that was very smart. That was a good answer. And I see some cities like Cambridge where the mayors, they become very, very political active. Even Somerville was very, very political active when it comes to national questions, and that brings up culture. Sure. And when we mix with culture, it brings hate, it brings love, it brings everything together. So you see some city halls that has huge signs of Black Lives Matter or LGBTQ plus signs or other social movements. Are you planning to put Everett as a reference for those movements, or planning to play a little more neutral when it comes to showing the city and their citizens, what they are, what to expect from the city, right?
Right. Well, what I would say is the important role that I can play as a mayor, because everyone has their own opinions, and not every opinion matches that of their neighbor. But from the role as a mayor, the face and the head of a city, what I would put out there is a message that everyone is welcome and everyone should feel safe. And there is plenty of room for different opinions and different lifestyles and different decisions. And, we are all part of that community, and we have to live together in harmony, and we need to respect one another, and we need to be helpful to one another. So I would be saying that regardless of what other people might think, and you're right, the nuts and bolts of it are cleaning the streets and providing the services. And that's really the core function of government. But built into it is also letting every single resident know that their voice matters, that their opinion matters, that if they have something to say, I want to hear it, and that Everett is a safe place for everyone.
All right, the question is, can we expect a huge Black Lives Matter flag?
If we have folks in our neighborhood who have an issue and they want to do that, we can do that. We can express everyone's opinions.
Perfect. Então eu diria que o papel importante como prefeito que eu tenho, né, fazendo a tradução, seria justamente ser a cara dessa cidade, né, é uma cara da cidade. Todos são bem-vindos e todos deveriam se sentir seguros na cidade de Everett. Tem opinião para todos, cada um com sua opinião diferente e todos somos parte dessa mesma comunidade. Limpar as ruas e prover os serviços básicos, com certeza é uma parte importante. E escutar a voz do cidadão, de quem que está morando ali, do residente da cidade é algo importante. Eu perguntei se nós vamos ter a bandeira grande da cidade. Ele disse, se for algo que a cidade queira, é algo que nós faremos. Então, tudo vem do povo. Everything comes from the people, right? That's the whole point. Let me make another one in Portuguese first, then I'm gonna translate that. A parte importante da nossa cidade, gente, aqui nos Estados Unidos, da nossa vida, né, como imigrantes, é aquela certeza da segurança pública, né? Nós temos certeza com relação a andar com um iPhone, a poder utilizar relógios e etc. na rua. Nós sabemos que no Brasil não tem essa mesma possibilidade, a violência não permite isso. Porém, em Everett e Somerville e algumas outras cidades, elas se tornaram padrões muito grandes de violência e focos, né, de violência. Nós tivemos o primeiro comando de Massachusetts que foi desmantelado na cidade de Everett, inclusive. Então, vamos ver quais são os planos de segurança pública por parte do prefeito nessas indicações para tentar resolver justamente esse uso de drogas e esse problema que assola a nossa comunidade, sendo uma comunidade tão caracteristicamente, vamos dizer assim, mais conservadora brasileira do que uma outra proposta, né? Vamos ver como é qualquer resposta. All right, another tough one.
Okay.
So basically, I was telling the difference between United States and Brazil when it comes to walking the streets using cell phones or using, jewelry or anything. But we can't do that in Brazil because it's too dangerous. People gonna steal you if you do that. And that's the main difference that we feel when we come to America. And you can walk with your phone and you can be sure that you won't be dead.
Okay.
that you're gonna walk away with that. So that's something very important to us. However, through the time, we have people here for 30 years, 20 years, 5 years, 1 year that are coming, and they saw the change. And basically, there are a few cities as Somerville and Everett and other cities that the violence kind of spoke up. So we had a group called First. It's a criminal group called, the best translation would be First Command of Massachusetts, which is an arm of big crime group in Brazil. And they were arrested in Everett, more than 20 people. They were doing all kind of, crimes and everything else, and all Brazilians over there. So we see that happening. We see that happening in Somerville as well. People getting shot on the street, and drugs for us, for Brazilians, we are a little further away than Americans when it comes to that. Over here, there's a lot of drugs that for us it's extremely wrong, but over here it's kind of that's all right. So we're still getting used to it. As a mayor, you have some power over the police, and you have some power of decisions of safety and security for the city.
Yes.
What is the plan to hold everything together and put the city again in something that's safe? Because we know that there's some money that has to be spent on that. But
Sure.
what's the plan?
Well, first, let me say I'm not okay with drugs. So I would be more akin to the Brazilian community. And I think that at the very foundation, people have to feel safe in their community because everything builds on that. And if you don't feel safe, you can't really talk about community. You can't talk about building bridges. You can't talk about commerce. You can't talk about education. You can't talk about services. So I am very big with public safety. And we've had an issue in Everett with the fire department where the numbers have dropped dramatically while we've got all this construction going on. We lost over 30 members and we didn't rehire. So that's a huge deficit that creates a lot of public safety on the fire end. But to speak more directly to your question, one of the things that I want to do is I want to put more police officers into our neighborhoods, walking the streets, getting to know our residents better so that they can open up dialogue, establish trust, help our residents, help our police department make it a safer community. And I think that that's job one. You need to have a safe community and you need to have trust and confidence in your local leaders. And if you don't have those two things, you really don't have a community.
Então, ele falou que combina mais, inclusive, não concorda com as drogas, combina mais, inclusive, com a questão da comunidade brasileira, né? É lógico que eu não estou generalizando, tá, gente? A gente fala aqui em um geral da nossa comunidade, né? E combina mais com essa comunidade. Ele espera que as pessoas estejam seguras nas ruas, né? Que elas tenham segurança, né? Que a comunidade toda possa usufruir de serviços públicos, usufruir de educação, de trabalhos, de uma maneira que todo mundo se sinta seguro a respeito disso. Inclusive, falou sobre um problema do departamento de bombeiros, né? Onde mais de 30 pessoas saíram do departamento, se aposentaram, outros motivos, e que quer contratar mais. Mas voltando para a pergunta principal, a ideia da polícia ser recontratada, ter mais gente trabalhando, mais policiais na rua, para justamente que as pessoas consigam fazer com que as pessoas tenham confiança nesses policiais e tenham confiança também ali nos seus líderes, né? Para quem está por trás justamente dessa situação. A próxima pergunta tem a ver com essa parte ainda de drogas, né? Porque existe um movimento bem forte no estado para fazer esses centros assistidos de drogas, onde a pessoa ela vai nesse centro, ela pega um pequeno pedaço dessa droga e um médico e um policial acompanham nessa situação, e inclusive era um dos planos de candidatos aqui para a cidade de Somerville. E como é que vê essa situação? Será que é possível fazer isso ou é um grande erro? Qual seria a opinião do Fred Capone? Vamos saber. All right, the next one is still on drugs. All right, still on that.
Okay.
We heard some plans from some candidates, not just in Somerville, but other cities as well, of doing what they call a drug use assisted by a doctor and also by a police officer. So a small place where the person goes there and they get the injection they need of whatever drug they need. And I have seen this working some place, not working other places. Anyways, so that's the idea.
Sure.
And we saw that idea coming popular for some candidates.
Sure.
However, I also saw it going very wrong. So big problem. What's your opinion about that?
I've read about that in Somerville. That Somerville was kind of on the cutting edge of that, and I think that to the point in just the balance in the question, it's very controversial. If people are using drugs, they're going to use them. Whether you provide a safe avenue or you don't. I would have to look into that. I think that would be something that, I don't know what the public opinion would be on that, but let me answer it this way. As opposed to providing a safe location to do that, I would rather put our resources and our efforts and our services to help people cope with their addiction problems and try to help them find a way out of it. That's where I would put more of my focus on. But like everything else, I do believe you need to listen to all of your residents and hear what they have to say. My own personal opinion, we have quite a few people in Everett dealing with addiction issues. It's a very serious problem, not only in Everett, but everywhere. But as the mayor of Everett, I would commit resources and services to try to help those individuals. And I know that it's not as easy as here we are, let's help you. You have to be there when the individual is ready to receive help. And they're not always ready to receive help. So from my point of view as a city, we need to be there whenever. So when the opportunity is right and the individual is ready to accept help, that we're there to provide it.
Perfect. Na verdade, eu estava lendo sobre isso em Somerville, né? E ele acha uma questão muito balanceada, muito polêmica, né? Tem dois lados e é muito controversa. Se as pessoas estão usando drogas, elas vão usar drogas, né? Deixa eu responder de uma forma onde eu consiga ter uma melhor posição, né? Segundo ele. Ele prefere colocar o dinheiro da cidade em um local onde a pessoa consiga se tratar, né? Achar uma forma de tratamento e colocar justamente esse tratamento para funcionar lá. Ele acredita que se houver residência, tiver demanda em Everett, porque Everett tem problemas com drogas, né? Admite problemas com drogas, os recursos serão colocados. Não é uma tarefa fácil, porque afinal de contas você tem que ter ali pessoas e indivíduos que estejam precisando receber naquele momento e naquele momento receberão a sua ajuda, né? Então é um comprometimento justamente por parte do candidato a esse ponto. Próximo ponto que nós vamos falar agora é cassino. Cassino é uma coisa grande em Everett, porque nós temos o cassino de Everett com muitas promessas do que foi feito, né? O Encore, né? Cassino. E para quem não é da região, é um cassino gigantesco que tem na região, acaba deixando o trânsito transtornado, acaba deixando a situação também de jogo um pouco diferente dentro da cidade e muita promessa de muito dinheiro que chegaria para a cidade. O principal candidato contrário ao senhor Capone é justamente o atual prefeito, Carlos de Maria. E vamos ver como é que ele enxergou, se ele tem acompanhado esses repasses de dinheiro, se realmente tem sido feito algo, com todo respeito ao atual prefeito, né, com esse valor, ou se está tendo alguma coisa diferente na cidade de Everett, porque você que é de Everett está sentindo a diferença, né? So my next question is about casino, right? Encore Casino, and I was in the news way before they start to talk about the casino, and they came in and there was a bunch of good sides and bad sides, a bunch of things, but the biggest point was they're gonna bring a lot of money.
Yep.
They're gonna bring money to public service and gonna be great for every citizen. They're gonna be a great thing. However, I do a lot of business in Everett, and I haven't seen that much of a change since they come over here. Besides the traffic, now we have that terrible traffic problem over there. So my question is, your opponent right now, it's the mayor of Everett,
correct,
which is Carlos de Maria.
Yep.
Have you seen the paperwork? Have you seen what's public when it comes to money that's supposed to come from the casino to pay bills in the city of Everett? Is Carlos, with all the respect, of course,
sure,
is Carlos doing his job when it has to be done when it comes to the money that was supposed to come from the casino and be applied to the city?
Well, the revenue is there, and with regards to the casino, they're here, and they're a neighbor, and they're a good neighbor in many ways. But I think that there's a lot of things that our current mayor has kind of dropped the ball on with the casino. At the very outset, we'll start there, and then we'll go to the rest of it. So at the outset, we have a host agreement, and that's negotiated between the city and the casino as to what they can do to help our community. And our mayor negotiated a $30 million payment broken out over a 3-year period. Now, I'm not sneezing at $30 million, but there was an opportunity to, all of our infrastructure for our public safety needs to be replenished. It's gone its useful age, and we need to replenish that. We need equipment, service. What he should have negotiated is he should have negotiated a combination fire station, police station, down in the area where the casino is going to be. And we would need equipment and we would need vehicles. And you would explain to the casino that it's in their best interest because they're putting $1 billion investment. And we're not capable or equipped to handle the protection of that with our current level of services. So had they put in that new station with the equipment and with the vehicles, it would probably have worked out to be a benefit to our community of about $130 million. And it would have not only benefited our community, we could have said, help us protect you and protect your investment. So I saw that as a golden opportunity that's been lost. So our mayor negotiated, in his rush to get a casino into our city, accepted a $30 million investment when it could have been a much larger $130 million investment. And now the need for these buildings are going to be on the burden of our taxpayers and on our residents. So that's up front. And then the ongoing issue is that we get a revenue stream of about $30 million a year. And I think the residents of our community thought that their quality of life was going to increase and that their taxes were going to come down and the cost of living was going to increase. And it should have, and it hasn't. And that's one of the biggest issues that I have with our current mayor, is that there is a way to use this new stream of revenue to actually improve the quality of life for our residents, and he's not getting that job done. And that's what I want to do.
Perfect. Vamos traduzir. Let's translate. Bom, o lucro está lá, né? O lucro do cassino está lá. E além do cassino também, a gente tem que dizer que eles são bons vizinhos, né? Eles estão na comunidade. Ele só acha que o prefeito deixou cair a bola algumas vezes, o prefeito atual ali de Everett, né? Existe ali justamente um contrato para deixar o cassino na cidade de Everett. E com pontos, inclusive, do que deveria ser ajudado dentro da comunidade. O contrato ele foi um contrato de $30 milhões, né? Pago durante 3 anos. Porém, tinha uma oportunidade de fazer algo muito maior, muito melhor, o que na opinião do Fred seria algo que poderia ter sido feito com maiores valores e também com um tempo maior se o prefeito não tivesse com tanta pressa para conseguir fechar esse deal, né? Deveria ter colocado um departamento de polícia, um departamento de bombeiros ali juntos desse prédio, que é um prédio de $1 bilhão, né? Então é um prédio muito grande. E no fim das contas vai acabar saindo do bolso do pagador de impostos essa história. Então as pessoas, elas tinham ali a ideia de que teriam muitos benefícios com o cassino, que entraria justamente ali dinheiro para poder abaixar os impostos das pessoas, melhorar a qualidade de vida e dos serviços. E não é isso que nós temos feito. Ele acha que a pressa do prefeito foi o grande erro, né? Então esse $30 milhões poderia ter sido $130 milhões, e acabou que não vai ser. Então, infelizmente, isso aí vai acabar saindo dos pagadores de impostos. Mas como prefeito, vamos tentar reverter essa situação. Vamos falar ainda do cassino, porque a gente fala com relação a trânsito. O trânsito ali realmente é uma questão muito séria. Não só na região do cassino, mas também em outras regiões, até na Broadway mesmo, que nós já comentamos, é algo que mexe com muita gente na cidade, né? E encaminhando para esse final, quero saber um pouquinho mais sobre o que pode ser feito para solucionar esse problema. Okay, we're rolling and getting to an end pretty soon, but I still have one more question.
Sure.
About traffic, because we have something that's crazy when it comes to the casino area, of course,
Yep.
and also, I mean, some lights over there that are nobody knows the reason. Most probably there's a reason for that, but it wasn't publicized. So a lot of people get frustrated because they don't get why so many lights in such a small area with such a infrastructure around it. So I'm pretty sure an engineer, someone make the math and say that, okay, we need that many lights over there. However, nobody publicized that, so we get mad because we don't know. And not just the casino area, but also Broadway and other main streets in Everett, they get pretty jammed by traffic when it comes to rush hour, which is normal. Every city has it, but we saw that exponentially, grow basically in Everett. So what's the plan for traffic?
Yeah. Traffic is a problem everywhere. And I would guess that the lights were set up in order to provide for safety, a spot where pedestrians could cross safely at some point. But as you mentioned, that traffic kind of spills over into other communities. So I don't think that Everett has done this in the past. And I think what they should do is we should speak with our bordering communities and try to work out the traffic flow so that it moves all the way through. Because if Everett just looks at Everett and Everett's borders, we only control traffic from point A to point B. But if we interact with Boston, Somerville, some of our other communities, Medford, Malden, Chelsea, Revere, we can find a way to help traffic flow as smoothly as possible. Part of the problem is more people have cars today than they did before. And we talked about at the beginning of the show that, driver license, because people need cars.
Exactly.
I think that one of the solutions, and this is something that we are talking about in Everett, but one of the solutions is to try to get people to use public transportation more. But the reality is until public transportation is more reliable, people are going to be resistant to do that. So we need to work with the state. We need to work with the different agencies to get our public transportation much better than it is now, make it much more reliable, user-friendly. And by doing that, we can alleviate some of that traffic. And that's only part of the problem. The other part of the solution, rather, is working with our neighboring communities to help that traffic flow evenly all the way through. So we don't have all that stop and go. You can get from point A to point B safely and smoothly.
Não, o trânsito é um problema em todos os lugares, né? O semáforo, inclusive, eu acho que é uma questão de segurança, que ele tá lá, esse semáforo do cassino, né? Eu não acho que fizeram no passado, mas o importante é falar com as comunidades vizinhas à cidade de Everett, como Boston, Somerville, Malden, Chelsea, Revere. É possível achar uma maneira com que esse caminho siga, né, e tenha uma fluência entre as cidades, né? As pessoas estão comprando mais carros, as pessoas têm mais carros, né? E uma das soluções, inclusive, é fazer o uso do serviço público. Mas para poder fazer o uso do serviço público, você precisa melhorar o serviço, deixar ele mais fácil para o usuário, para que ele consiga ter confiança nesse problema, né? Então, esse é um ponto importante, a maneira de resolver seriam essas duas maneiras. Vamos descobrir se para finalizar aqui, nós fazendo a nossa última pergunta, né? Antes de deixar as considerações finais, se é a favor ou contra as faixas de bicicleta ou as famosas linhas ali de ônibus, né? Que a cidade coloca, algumas cidades colocam. E aí vou deixar mais considerações finais também para o Sr. Capone. All right, so I said that was the last question, but I was lying. Now it's the last question.
I'm here all night.
Still in traffic. That's why I consider the same question, right? Still in traffic. We see different politicians having different opinions when it comes to bringing together bikes and cars or bus lines or everything else. We see sometimes in a state like this, like Massachusetts, where we have snow, pretty much a bunch of snow in cold weather, and some people, they don't agree that you put that much bike lanes. Some people agree. Some people don't agree that bus have their own lanes and the whole thing is messed up. What is your view on that?
Yeah.
Bike lanes, no bike lanes?
I think it's important. I think that you have to provide whatever means possible to help alleviate traffic. What I don't like, what I've seen in Everett, is bus lanes and bike lanes went in without public input. That's where you get your problem. You're making a decision that impacts the entire community, and the entire community should have an opportunity to weigh in on it. For example, we have one bus lane that runs towards Boston, and the bike lane time is from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. And there are many businesses on Broadway. I don't think we have a traffic jam at 4 a.m. I've actually spoken to our mayor about reducing the hours of the bus lane because you don't see traffic probably till about 6 a.m. So by restricting parking between 4 and 6, you're hurting local businesses from being able to get deliveries or do what they need to do. And you're stopping residents from having overnight parking. They have to get out and move their car by 4 o'clock. So I think that's problematic. And then we have a bus lane coming north between 4 and 7. And there are a lot of businesses there. And my house is right in the mix with that because I'm right on Broadway Well, so I see a lot. And I had said to the mayor that before we implement any kind of a bus lane on that side, we need to have a public meeting. We need to speak to our residents. We need to speak to our businesses to see how this is going to impact them. He assured me that it would happen. And of course, it didn't happen. One night at 3 a.m., I heard the spray paint. And then the next day, we have a bus lane. Wow. And that's a problem. You know, government is making decisions for our residents without their input, and that's wrong. We're here to serve the public, not push them aside. And I've seen that for too long, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running.
Então, eu acho importante qualquer coisa seja possível para aliviar o trânsito, né? Essas linhas, o problema delas é fazer elas sem falar com o público. Nós temos uma linha de ônibus, uma linha de bicicleta que elas têm regulações de horário que saem de Boston, né? E a outra que vem justamente da cidade. E ele conversou com o prefeito a respeito das horas, né? Porque são linhas exclusivas, com horários exclusivos, né? Saindo das 4 da manhã. Então a gente não tem um problema de tráfego às 4 horas da manhã, a gente pode ter a partir das 6. Acaba atrapalhando a vida de locais, de negócios locais, né? E também atrapalhando a vida de residentes que precisam parar o seu carro durante a noite. Então a gente vê isso de uma forma muito comum em Everett. O grande problema é o prefeito ou as pessoas, né? O governo tomando decisões sem que seja consultado. Então esse é um dos maiores motivos justamente para estar concorrendo a esse cargo público, é para que consiga ser consultado, consulte a população, né? E ouvir a população. Ele mora, inclusive, na Broadway, e ele conversou com o prefeito sobre uma linha que seria feita lá, né? Que não era bom fazer sem falar com as pessoas. À noite, às 3 da manhã, acabou escutando barulho de spray pintando a rua, né? E colocando justamente essa linha de ônibus ali, então sem falar com as pessoas. Esse é o grande problema e é por isso que ele está concorrendo, para poder ouvir as pessoas na hora de tomar as decisões públicas. Bom, vamos para a parte final, gente. Vamos escutar as considerações finais do candidato e vamos ver o que ele fala aqui pra gente. Well, so now we go to the final part, where you do your statement for our community. There's a lot of Brazilians watching us, and they're going to be watching and listening to the cars, to this podcast. And I want to give you time so you can talk to the community, and say whatever you want to our Brazilian community.
Oh, thank you very much. I do appreciate the opportunity, and I want to say that we're very diverse in Everett, and the Brazilian community is a vital part of our community. We're very lucky to have you, and we in the campaign, I believe the mayor represents everyone, and everyone should have a say, and everyone's opinion should matter. So if I am fortunate enough to be elected mayor, it's on November 2nd is the election, everyone is going to have a voice. And we're going to make sure that what you have to say and how you feel comes across is listened to. You're going to have a city government that's going to pay attention to your needs and is going to work with you. I think one thing that we haven't done in our city for a long time is we've neglected our business partners. I think we need to do a better job of helping our business partners so that you can provide services and jobs to Everett residents, and we can help each other grow, because we're all interconnected and none of us succeed unless all of us succeed. So to all of our Brazilian friends in Everett, please come up and say hello. Our headquarters is at 142 School Street in Everett. And we have a website. You can give the link.
Yeah. I have the link over here for you. Eu tenho um link aqui, tá, pessoal? Perdão. Para poder acessar justamente o site. Pessoal, o Lombardo is right here. He's helping the campaign. He's behind the cameras. Tá aqui, atrás das câmeras, tá, gente? Ele me passou a mensagem, send me the message. Tá bem aqui. Que é o seguinte, é Fred Capone foreverett.com/info-portuguese-meet-Fred. Vai estar no link da descrição, tá? Aqui embaixo no texto, tá? Para o pessoal que está acompanhando via YouTube ou no Facebook também a gente coloca esse link na descrição para que você possa entrar no site. Tem tudo em português lá, então você consegue ter uma melhor situação a respeito disso. Can go on.
Okay. So, and that's it. I think it's important that every resident feels safe, every resident feels welcome, that everyone knows that what they say is important, and everyone has something to offer. And I think one of the things that I find that bothers me the most is a lot of us feel like, well, what do I have to say? What can I offer? What does my opinion matter? It does. It does to me. So please, when you see me around town, feel free to come up and say hello and tell me what you think would make Everett better for you, for your family, for your friends, for your business. And if I am fortunate enough to be elected on November 2nd, I want you to please reach out to me, because the Brazilian community is a vital part of our city, and we need to make sure that everyone feels welcome, everyone feels safe, and everyone feels that their opinion and their voice matters and is valued. And it will under my administration.
Eu queria agradecer a oportunidade, queria dizer também que para todos que a comunidade em Everett ela é muito diversa, né? E a parte brasileira, inclusive, é muito importante nessa área, né? Tem muitas pessoas que representam a comunidade brasileira e tem uma opinião muito importante. Se ele conseguir ser eleito no dia 2 de novembro, ele quer fazer com que a voz de cada uma dessas pessoas da nossa comunidade seja justamente escutada, né? Que vai ter uma pessoa na prefeitura que vai parar para escutar você e escutar justamente cada um dos seus problemas. Ajudar os donos dos negócios locais para que eles possam ter justamente ali uma ajuda pública que não vem sendo provida para esses donos. Ninguém pode crescer sem que justamente todos crescemos juntos, então tem que ter esse crescimento junto, é importante essa parte da comunidade estar bem ali. Que você se sentir à vontade, se ver ele na rua, inclusive, pode falar com ele, falar sobre os problemas, e se no dia 2 de novembro, quando você ter essa eleição, vai ter espaço para as pessoas poderem falar com o prefeito. Atualmente, a parte na rua, na School Street, tá, gente? No 142 da School Street, tá lá o comitê de campanha, e todos são bem-vindos para poder lá e falar com as pessoas. Uma das coisas que mais incomodam ele, segundo ele, é as pessoas acharem que elas não têm voz, que elas não têm opinião, que elas não têm o poder de fala. Então é importante que elas se sintam bem com relação a falar pela cidade, falar com o prefeito, falar com as autoridades. Então fica aí pro dia 2 de novembro, fica também o site que nós passamos para você, e vamos nos despedir aqui, gente. Falou uma coisa muito importante: as pessoas têm voz, as pessoas têm opinião. Tem uma frase, inclusive, que eu acho bem bacana, que é o seguinte: até no lixão nasce flor, né, gente? Até no lixão nasce flor. Então, às vezes, a gente tem que começar a entender isso, que pode sair coisa boa de qualquer lugar, não tem nenhum problema, né? Isso acho que é uma parte importante do que disse o Fred Capone aqui para nós hoje. Fred, thank you very much for everything. Appreciate your time. Appreciate for coming over here to talk to our community. And I was telling them a phrase, a quote that I think that's matches a lot what you say, because you're talking a lot about, you know, freedom of speech and people have the power to say things, right? And there's a quote in Brazil that we say that even from the garbage, sometimes flowers they rise.
Yeah.
So from anywhere, something can come up and show up. So again, thank you very much for everything. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Obrigado. Boa noite. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I appreciate the opportunity. And please, all of our Brazilian listeners, any of your friends who can vote, please tell them if they want real change that benefits all of us in Everett, please vote Fred Capone on November 2nd.
Perfeito, vamos votar então aqui, pedido do candidato Fred Capone no dia 2 de novembro. Gente, muito obrigado, esse foi o Politicast, eu sou Arthur Braga, fiquem todos com Deus, um bom final de semana. Tchau.